Most leaders are unprepared for the pressure. This inevitably leads to two breakdowns: team shortcomings and leadership shortages. Let me explain. Number one is team shortcomings. When the pressure is put on, the team cannot rise above the disruptions and the compound difficulty. Instead of pulling together, they bust at the seams. Teams that train together trust each other. However, when they're not prepared to pull together in this case, then they're just pretending teamwork and the willingness to follow through. So it's not that the issues weren't around during the good times or the easier times. They weren't identified and dealt with proactively. The team shortcomings are meant to signal a message. This team cannot handle the pressure. In other words, if this team isn't pulling together now, do you really think they're gonna suddenly change their tune when things are more serious? These shortcomings are missed opportunities for the team to work through a challenge in a way that gives them more ground to work with in the next chapter. Think of this as a gradual erosion of camaraderie. The misconception with burnout is that it's not individual and it's not linear. Most people think that people get burned out by working too much in their jobs. Actually, another shade of burnout shows up when teams suffer unmitigated drama repeatedly until it craters into unwanted and irreversible trauma. Burnout happens more often when high capacity people within a team feel resistance and/or friendly fire when they're actually trying to work towards a higher ground goal. The reason this sort of thing keeps happening is because the team dynamic is more elastic than linear. It's not a specific point in the journey that just suddenly shuts down teamwork. It's more like a stretching, an overextension where people are hoping and holding on until it creates the impression that the team bonds are fine, and then out of nowhere they just snap. Well, they didn't just snap. It was over time. This elasticity was happening until it wasn't. This creates the side effects of either quiet quitting or turf wars or employee exodus. This is what team shortcomings look like. Often when you're already 10 rounds into the toughest fight of your career. Number two, leader shortages. This leads right into the second painful byproduct of being unprepared: leader shortages. It's not that you won't have people to hire or promote into management, leadership roles. It's that you won't like what happens next. This is when you run into the rhetorical phrase, slim pickings. The quality of leadership material is so low and underwhelming, you actually condemn your whole organizational culture to the worst attributes at higher doses. This is where there's no leadership left in the building. It's not like you weren't willing to pay good people for their contributions, and it's not like you wouldn't try to make things work. It's actually much worse. Your organizational footprint shrinks to your new definition of leadership capacity. Things that used to be easy to do are now extremely hard to do. Consensus becomes the only way to get anything done, and we know that kills whatever is left of the courage. The leaders are now just leftovers. They're lightweights in a very heavyweight match with hard conversations that never got addressed. They're once again unprepared for the pressure. When the pressure mounts, they simply cannot give the moment or the team what it needs. They're propped up as folk heroes, but the lore is just lacking. This is when you're not just unprepared, but you're pretending. It leads to a whole host of costly assumptions that can do serious damage to your credibility and your agility as an organization. This is where the consequences catch up. So, why do I cast such a big shadow on the subject of leadership, especially when I'm such a huge advocate for hope? I believe that hope makes leaders authentic and more reliable. Well, on the surface, it may be helpful to give you some language that describes what to look out for, what to steer away from if possible. Actually, though, the deeper issue here is that most leaders don't think that it could happen to them. They're just leading in a vacuum. They lose track of time, and they're deleting years of wasted opportunities and collateral damage from their working memory instead of realizing that the game of leadership is actually on a countdown clock. If anyone should have a healthy fear, it should be the leaders in the room. They're held to a higher standard. And while they shouldn't take themselves too seriously, they shouldn't make ego moves that prevent other leaders from strengthening the team's futurability. I meet with a lot of founders and leaders, and the one word that I would use to describe them, unfortunately, is cluttered. Either they're overextending themselves to get more cash flow, or they're tolerating multiple cases of mission drift, often downstream in their team, within their blind spots. They cannot see what's actually working, so they don't know how to protect it or how to do more of it uninhibited. It's this cluttered thinking that turns into tributaries that creates the overall experience of feeling or leading scatterbrained, overextended, and exhausted. They cannot see the forest for the trees or the future that's in their own field. It affects their vision and their discipline. And that's when well-intentioned leaders run on empty. They're trying to get more and more out of the team or out of that season, but actually they have very, very little to give because they're running on an empty tank. These are just a handful of the reasons why I care so deeply about offering the Prepared Leaders Challenge. If you're the primary decision maker or you're visibly involved in a leadership team, you've got to get refueled and retooled for the terrain ahead. So here's what it is and here's what it is not. The Prepared Leaders Challenge is a 2-day event training that happens with me online in a live format during our lunch times. The first day is about making the paradigm shift from feeling unprepared for the pressure to actually being prepared to expand your capacity and then your leadership context into new fields. The second day is about seeing what's so hard about staffing leadership in your context, and then how to make it easier to share leadership in your context. What I have discovered is that the leadership landscape has changed, making the same talking points from many of the top bestsellers less and less accessible. For example, people with leadership attributes today don't want to work in the same leadership roles that were elevated, let's say, 30 years ago. Or they don't see themselves being effective for the emerging challenges with the Saul's armor syndrome that they're expected to somehow gratefully take on. The best thing that leaders can do for their teams and their communities is be prepared. That takes years of daily effort within a transformational process that thoroughly makes them the leader required when and where it matters most. So, who is this challenge for? I get this conversation all the time. Hey, Peter, will you coach my team? I have brand new leaders who aren't moving fast enough yet, and it would be a big help, often with bro or dude, it would be a big help, bro, to bring you in to bring them up to speed. And this is often my response. Hey, I am so happy to help you. And if you think that this is what's really going to help you, then I'm in for that. And so, yes, I enjoy that group coaching environment, and I really respect the opportunity to invest some relational equity in future leaders early on in their leadership journey. However, I'm just going to have to say it again. The people who need my kind of executive coaching and my kind of reinforcement are load-bearing leaders. Load-bearing leaders. If you've ever seen a load-bearing leader buckle under the weight of their responsibilities or the effects of unaddressed rot in their culture, it's one of the saddest things that you may ever have to watch in your professional career. And it absolutely guts me. It's hard to stomach, and I'm just mustering the courage right now to even say that I hate it. So in my view, the real core group who needs this event training are founders or directional leaders who often try to send a substitute instead of investing just 2 or 3 hours with me to future-proof their entire operation. Now, within that, there is a full range of people who want to join and who will really benefit from this time together. Solopreneurs are always welcome, and a lot of chief everything officers are probably my target group for this particular challenge. It's probably going to help the chief everything officer the most, because that's where a lot of you are. Now, there's plenty of high capacity people, and you just need to jump into this because it will be a worthy investment for where you're going. You're not in that high capacity leadership role yet, but you see yourself there, or you kind of see where things are trending and you want to be prepared proactively. This is going to give you the tools that you need to navigate confidently for years to come. Now, if you're looking to double down on team compliance, then this isn't for you. But if you're serious about leadership deployment, then this will be music to your ears. As I'm writing and recording this podcast, there is another Prepared Leaders Challenge this week. You need to join it now to make sure that you can be a part of it, though. If you're watching this later on, for whatever reason, I want to reassure you that I've made the commitment to keep offering this challenge for the next few months or years until my goal is complete. By God's grace, I'm hoping to train 5,000 prepared leaders through this challenge and other cohorts. I consider it a mission that I'm sharing with the Lord, and my basis is Luke 10:2. As far as what to expect, it's going to focus on your leadership capacity in day 1 and then your leadership community in day 2. And I use the phrase leadership community to include multiple contexts, such as people on your org chart or just the partnerships in your relational network. There are many skills to pick up and pass on as you pursue your life's work, but it all happens in the context of your leadership journey. Many people dismiss the idea of leadership as a corporate-only thing, and others miss the plot by making their whole identity about just having a leadership job. But let me just make one last appeal. In my mind, there's a very small distance between bad leadership and no leadership at all. When people are going through adversity and compound difficulty, they're going to be so thankful to see people stepping up with that real leadership function. Whenever people resist the urge to freeze under pressure, or they just keep their calm with a sense of confidence and competence, they act decisively to help or improve the circumstances, and they actually rally with others in a way that brings out the best attributes and the better virtues That's leadership in action. And we kind of take leadership for granted when things are going okay, but we really need to focus on leadership so that way we are prepared when the challenges and the bigger opportunities emerge. Now, that doesn't just happen when people are pretending. They're pretending to be a great leader. They're pretending to have everything under control. What I'm describing is the fruit of people who have embraced the personal challenge to be prepared. So join the Prepared Leaders Challenge as soon as you can. I look forward to working with you and your team in that time. Remember, the future has so many fields waiting on you, so prepare to go there.